aren't either being afforded the opportunities to, or they are not taking them on at all. And so I just wanted to express gratitude to this board, to Dr. Maldonado, to the cabinet, for just in my short period, some really heartening work that you all have been a part of. And I just want to say that I'm proud to be a part of the school district and just very thankful for each and every one of you. And so while we're in our summertime, make sure you take time to recharge. And that is my report. Oh, tomorrow we have a Housing Ad Hoc Committee meeting in the morning, where the Housing Authority is going to present they have the full catalog of all of our properties, and so we're going to discuss those properties, take a look at them on Google Maps. It's going to be fun, and then hopefully talk about next steps, and hopefully getting closer to a board report from the Housing Authority so that we can discuss where to go from here. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Munoz?
Thank you, President Sims Moten. Just a brief report from me today. I'm happy about, the summer of learning and all that was accomplished during that time to serve our children. Also, a warm welcome to Maggie Flores. Thank you and congratulations on your position. I look forward to speaking with you more. And also wanted to point out that the application for the Oversight Committee, the window is open from July 17th and closes August 25th for the Oversight Committee addressing racism and anti-Blackness. Hoping to see, applications from the community and such on that, and just, hoping the teachers and the staff are getting a summer break and getting ready, as a board and as a district for the coming school year. Thank you.
Mr. Banning? Thank you, Ms. Munoz.
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge that this is the first board meeting of the 23-24 school year. It's an amazing, it just keeps coming around, right? And the beginning of a year is always an exciting time. We're going to see new employees. Maggie, you're the first to be introduced to us. We're going to see more on a report later on, and it's really an exciting new beginning. This is one of the beauties of public education, that every day is a new start, and this is particularly a new start. I'd also like to just point out that Cole Chinwetter, that was drafted, is the son of a Goleta principal, and I watched him when he was doing stuff in 6th grade, and he's been on the way, and his dad was a coach for Little League, may still be. So, another connection between our feeder districts and us.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. I'll just, around the comments, don't have a whole lot of comments, but also want to welcome Maggie. That position, you got the ECE vibe. Okay, back to girl. In terms of that, so I appreciate that, and certainly your commitment and career through Santa Barbara Unified. So thank you. Looking forward to your vision for ECE and how do we look at that and merge that for the youngest among us. Also, congratulations to all the athletes in their success as we see them. Hopefully, it's part of being a part of Santa Barbara Unified. We create these conditions of success in life for our students. We provide them opportunities to do that. So we want to continue to support them and nurture them, to their true potential. And also, I'd like to just add a few comments to Mr. Escobedo with regards to the conference. It really was, it got there and it was like, I'm home. Just in terms of what you felt like though you didn't know a whole lot of people there, or any, Gabe and I only knew each other at that point, but it just felt like home, and it felt like kinship in terms of what boards are going through when they're tackling these very, contentious moments, specifically around, equity. We're kind of leading some of the forefront on that and staying focused on that, and there was very practical information that you could take and use instantly, because I was already writing it down, and I was saying, can we get a chapter in Santa Barbara? I was already advocating for that, because it just felt like you had a group of folks who were going through the same thing, but had an open mind of how we needed to do it and how we know we need to continue to go forth, facing some of the contentiousness that they're all facing. They were from across all the United States, happening with different things, dealing with climate change, some of the issues that we deal with here, and so it was just really good to be there. The one thing I would say that I think of all the things, which were of many, there were many, we had a session, and I believe our facilitator, he was 82 years old, but he was very insightful, still very energetic, and what he talked about is how we solve or work with our students, whatever their struggle is, in terms of how are they dealing with their issues. And we need to look at how we support them through their issues from an intergenerational lens. Because oftentimes the things that they're struggling with, similar to things that we may have struggled with, but they address it, they look at it through a totally different way of how to solve their struggles. So those of us who are in leadership, setting policies and how to work and how to support and nurture them, it's like we need to be able to ask them, well, how do you feel about this? How would you solve this? Because they will solve it differently from what we think, if it was the same issue that we were going through. How are you solving that today? And that really, it really resonated with me in terms of, as we're looking at equity, as we're looking at, we're combating anti-blackness, our students, you're using the N-word in a generation where, what does that mean? It may not mean the same thing as it did in my generation. It still is not a good word, but it's how it's being addressed through an intergenerational lens. How do you want to deal with this struggle? So it's important for us as we're going through these, looking at equity and looking at that, make sure that we have the student voice, how they would do it, and not get offended if they don't address it the same way we think we should. So that really resonated with me, and his name is Dr. Fuller. You can YouTube him, I think, that really had that insightful comment. So I really appreciated, being able to go there. And the other thing they talked about, it's really important to be good, high-functioning boards. You need to have professional development. And so that was really, a grateful opportunity to be there and to become one of those high-functioning boards, to be impactful, to make sure that we're getting good results and supporting our administration, our students, and just our school community in general. So I really appreciate the opportunity to go, and we were saying that every board member should be able to come, so we'll work on that. All right, so hearing that, next I'd like to go to public comments. Mr. Escobedo, you may have those slips.
Yes, we have 3 public commenters. We'll do the in-person public comment first. We'll start with Caroline Abate, followed by Julie Churchman. You'll have 3 minutes, and I will give you a friendly 30-second reminder.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. The following passage is from an old book and beautifully illustrates the importance of following the truth. Long before there were costly instruments to tell a ship's captain which way to sail the ship, men crossed the wide oceans and guided themselves safely home by watching the stars. Some stars, they knew, moved in the heavens and could not be found at the same time each night in the same place. One star, however, did not change. That was the North Star, and from it they took their directions. Thus they were safe to sail in any ocean, no matter how dangerous, as long as they kept in sight that wonderful star. Truth is like that star. It does not change. People live and die, kingdoms rise and fall, wars are fought, cities are built and fall away. Yet the truth is always the same, 5,000 years ago or 5,000 years from now. It was and it will be just as true as it is at this very moment. The reason for reading that was to pause and ask ourselves, what are we teaching our children? And are we being honest with them and telling them the truth? For example, in the new Comprehensive Health Education Books, Chapter 20, Lesson 1, Pregnancy Prevention, students are taught about abortion with the definition, Surgical procedure to end a pregnancy. We need to stop and think. Does that definition tell students the whole truth? That by every measure, that unborn child is a living, breathing person, a human being. And that abortion is much, much more than just a surgical procedure to end a pregnancy. Have we thought about the psychological scars left by abortion? How many women have deep regrets later on in life when they are older?
30 seconds.
Is that callous and incomplete definition setting our students up to go down a terrible path of painful regret? There is something wrong here, terribly wrong. We need to think more carefully, and we need to ask, is there not, perhaps, a better, different, and more truthful path forward for our students? Thank you for your time and being willing to listen.
Thank you. Next, we have Julie Churchman, followed by Garrett Williams, and that's a virtual public comment. Welcome. Yes. Try pressing it one more time. If the green light's on, it should be on.
Hello, my name is Julie Churchman, and I was a physical education teacher at Adams Elementary School from 2010 to 2022. During my time at Adams, my sole purpose was to lead my TK through 6th grade students through a planned, sequential curriculum based on the national standards for physical education. For the most part, I was successful in doing that, incorporating not only the national standards, but also designing and implementing a TK through 6th grade bicycle education program and providing swim lessons for my 6th graders through my partnership with the YMCA. Every day I went to work, I was blessed by the privilege to share my passion for lifelong fitness and skill development. In other words, I loved my job. In November 2021, I returned to my job after a period of absence due to illness, caring for a loved one, and the passing of my father, to discover that the amazing open space that I had been teaching in had been invaded by an alien ship that was never going to leave the playground. Without ever consulting with the principal, Ms. Fresh, or any of us who used the space, the school district had installed solar panels that not only shrunk our open space, creating an unsafe play area, but also removed the beauty of the space, which is crucial to the mind and spirit of children who spend so much time indoors and on devices. I was furious and extremely frustrated with the lack of foresight that the district was exhibiting. 2 weeks ago, I dropped by Adams to see the completion of the new building and was flabbergasted by the latest atrocity currently being installed on the playground. 2 cement structures that are supposedly for nighttime tsunami and earthquake warnings are in the process of being installed on the most active portion of the playground. These structures are just beyond third base of our kickball area and in the end zone of the football field. These cement structures are located where on any given morning 500 students are running freely and playing like all children should be able to. But no more. That freedom has been removed by the idiocy of adults who do not put the safety of children first. If you did, you would consult with those who know how the space is utilized, and then together with them, you would plan the best location for these structures. I am appalled, angry, and sad that Adams' beautiful, amazing open space has been ruined for all the Tigers who currently attend and will attend in the future. They will never experience the freedom of running, biking, and playing on a playground that should be designed for their safety, fun, and physical development. Last August, on Staff Welcome Back Day at San Marcos, you asked your student board members to speak about a teacher who had made a positive impact on their lives during their time in Santa Barbara
30
Unified.
seconds.
Emily Pineda, the Don's rep, spoke about a teacher who cared more about the kids than anything else. I am that teacher. I am speaking to you tonight because I still care about the safety and physical development of the Adams Tigers and all the other students in the school district. In 5 words, Ronald Reagan changed the life of millions when he said, "Gorbachev, tear down this wall." In 5 words, I say to you, please remove those lampposts. Please visit the campus and have these obstacles removed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Garrett Williams and virtual public comment. Is Garrett online? Nope. Okay. President Sismone, that is all the public comment for items not on today's agenda.
Okay, great, thank you. Next, we'll move to item E, acceptance of donations. May I have a motion from members?
I move to accept the donations with gratitude.
I second.
Okay, moved in second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. We'll next move to the consent agenda. Members, are there any items you'd like to pull? Hearing no requests to speak. Are there any requests, Superintendent, to pull any? Okay. All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, moved in second, please. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Thank you. We have moved the consent agenda. We will now move to the action agenda, G1, approval of Second Amendment of Superintendent's Employment Agreement. We'll start with just the discussion of that. Mr. Banning, as you and I were the negotiators, so if you have any comments, please do.
I would just like to say it's my privilege to discuss this process and let you know that we are approving a contract that extends the end date for Superintendent Maldonado's employment through June of 2026. We believe that she is the right leader at the right time, and by authoring the extension of the contract, that we are giving a clear message to her and to the district that the board supports the work she is doing and wants her to continue it.
Any additional comments? Ms. Jessica Vito.
Just wanted to say how happy I am here to vote on this item, and share just a quick anecdote if I can. When I was running for this seat, I was asked at some point, how will you know if Dr. Maldonado is the right leader? And I didn't have a precise answer, but I do have a pretty good judge. I would say humbly that I have a pretty good judge of folks and their abilities and their character and leadership. And it did not take me long. It took me all of one weekend at the CSBA conference, and asking you every single type of question, challenging you on some things, pushing and pulling on some of the ideas that you had shared in your vision. And I knew that you were the right leader, and you are the right leader for this district. And nothing in the last 8 months has changed my mind about that. And I am excited about your vision. I'm excited about your cabinet and the progress that we have made. I'm excited about the initiatives that we've taken on, and I am excited to vote yes on this.
Ms. Munoz.
I would like to say that I'm honored to have you as our superintendent. You are the leader at the right time for our students for the right reasons. And I really very much appreciate how much you have done for our district in the short time that you've been here. And I look forward to the future. And I appreciate, the cabinet that you have with you, that you've built, that you've provided support to. So it's my honor, Dr. Maldonado.
Thinking I'll round it out. I was just thinking, I've been here long enough to now this is my second amendment in extending your contract, and what an honor it is, having come through, we're now on the other side of just chaos and confusion. Let me just say that. And I think we've kind of been that, and that you've withstood that. And I think, going forth as we're recommending approval for extension of your contract really speaks to the importance of continuity of vision and leadership, particularly in these times. This team is strong and courageous. I would just say they're BA. That's in a good word. I know you can probably say what I call you guys, So I just really just appreciate the courageousness to go through this work, to sometimes not ignore, but set aside sometimes the outside noise to make sure we're focusing on what's best, and how we are really, through the policies that we make, the leadership, the vision that we're doing every day, the agendas that we're set, the contracts that we're approving, is centering students. And so you're that right person to do that as we center through equity. And just by the mere mentioning of equity creates some people feeling a fear of things being taken away from them, but we know far differently. And I'll say one more analogy that was at the at the conference, the facilitator talked about how important equity work and centering the needs of those most vulnerable students, how crucial that is, because when you center those needs, it becomes a universal benefit. And I think that's exactly what we're doing here. And so he was saying, sometimes the noise, and we want to make sure that public comment is a part of that, so we make sure that, the community is being heard. We are a community organization that, serves children. And he talked about making sure that don't allow the noise to become the deer on the side of the road, because you're so busy looking at the deer on the side of the road, you're going to crash into something else. So stay focused on that, and sometimes the noise and all the other things are just those deer, and you need that sometimes to keep us balanced. So I want to appreciate having probably the most senior here to be able to do that, and sometimes you get it right, and even in the midst of, just like I said, chaos. So glad that we're here together, and again, the continuity of vision and leadership is crucial to where we need to go. So thank you. With that, I do need a formal motion. Mr. You want to make that?
Excuse me. I move to accept the amendment to the employment contract for Superintendent Hilda Maldonado.
I second that wholeheartedly.
Okay. Moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passed. Thank you for your work and your commitment. Absolutely.
Well, I just want to thank you. And as I stated when I first got the job back in July 2020, with a very hopeful heart that the pandemic was only a 2-month event, that I am extremely committed to staying in Santa Barbara, to being the leader that I was hired to be. And I want to thank you, board trustees, but I also could not do any of this work without my incredible cabinet that has stands with me and continues to do the work. It really is them that's doing a lot of the work, and I couldn't do this without them. So thank you. And I'm honored, and I'm continuously ready and committed to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to G2, approval of business service contracts for the 2023-24 school year. Right, business service, okay. Ms. Hernandez is coming.
Well, thank you for that last one. I really appreciate it. So here we are. We are in this new way of where we're trying to bundle our contracts in our departments to make it easier on you folks, to make it easier on all of us, and to kind of move it along a little bit faster. So that's the goal here tonight. I'm just going to talk about the few contracts that I'm bringing forward for the business services contracts bundle. There we go. And we always talk about the way we focus our work. For business services, we're down there in the bottom, the sustainable operations part of the goodness that we have here. And we're also around the edges in the equity and the accountability, and a little bit in climate and culture too. So we're all part of that, and we always focus on our staff and our students. So tonight I've got just 3 different sections of contracts that I'm bringing forward. Business operations is the first one. We have a contract with AON is their name. That is an actuarial and consulting services, and they provide the actuarial data that we use for our district's retiree health insurance programs. And it vacillates from year to year because they do a big report every 2 years. So that's why you can see that it's 40K, and then it's 5.5K, and then it's 42K. So I'm just, for this coming year, we're going to have our big report. So it's going to be 40K for the 23-24 school year. We also have the City of Santa Barbara, the Park Ranger Services. We have an MOU with them. They provide some patrolling services after hours for us, just to make sure that our schools are safe in the after hours. And so the contract with them is about $34,546. We also have a City of Santa Barbara crossing guard services, but we have not gotten that MOU yet. I've spoken to them, and they are working on it. I just don't have it to share with you tonight. And then also the City of Santa Barbara after-school facility for the use of the junior highs is actually a revenue. So the City of Santa Barbara pays to for the junior high after-school sports, which is a really great thing. Then the next section that I have in our business services budget is for legal fees. We hold the general legal counsel fees for Griffith and Thornburg